Jagrata, Jaya Masters. We humans make things very complicated. It's okay if you go too deep into something. It has so many variables, so much complexity. But there's also a level of understanding, of comprehension, that's very, very simple, even for things that they make very complicated. For example, mind. How many books have been written on mind? How many teachers, how many scientists, how many gurus, how much has been written on mind? What is mind? I told you last time, and I won't get into it because I'm not going to argue with anybody. The brain is not the mind. The brain is the core of the central nervous system. All nerves, everything goes back to the complete complexity of the neuron structure of the brain. Probably billions of neurons that can talk to each other or communicate with each other and react, etc., etc. That's just physiology. Mind is something different. Mind is a higher vibration rate of energy that is way more brilliant, way more subtle, way more capable than the physical plane. The physical plane has limitations. Atoms limit it. Its form, it limits it. Mind, the higher vibration rates of mind that create mind do not have such limitations. You can go to Europe in a billionth of a second. You can go to Mars with your mind. So mind is a very subtle, I told you before, there's an electromagnetic spectrum. What you experience, the light part of the electromagnetic spectrum that you experience is tiny. Go look it up. Look up the spectrum and then see how much of it is visible light. It's tiny. What's the rest? Higher or lower wavelengths, vibration rates of energy. Mind is a higher, even higher than what they see as the electromagnetic spectrum. There's no limit to how fast or how small or how subtle a vibration rate can be. And so mind is a higher vibration rate. Fine. So what does that mean? It has the ability to create thoughts. The brain does not create thoughts. The brain can receive thoughts. You can have a thought, I want to pick up the glass. That's in a thought form. That's your mind. It transfers that energy, that vibration, down into the brain, which then causes neurons and neural pathways to become stimulated, and the arm moves. But it starts with mind. It starts with a thought. It's so obvious it's ridiculous. So mind has the ability to create thoughts. That's where thoughts come from. They come in the mind. They call them thought forms. It's a form. It's not a physical form, but it creates that form. That's simple. There's a field of energy, and in that field of energy, this stuff called thoughts can be created. If you keep it very simple, there are two very, very distinct types of thoughts that can be created. They all are thoughts. They all are created due to intellect, but they're very different. One is a purely intellectual thought. It's an impersonal, intellectual thought. I can think about science. I can think about Mars. I can think about Saturn. I can think about atoms. Your mind, it don't have to be a genius. You can think about things. What makes them purely abstract, impersonal, intellectual is they're not about you. You're in there experiencing them. And in truth, your depth of consciousness is choosing that those thoughts be created, but they're not about you. If you think about atoms, it's not about you. If you think about Mars, it's not about you. If you think about all kinds of things. The impersonal is science. It's intellect. You can create music. You can create sculpture and art. Art is of an impersonal nature until the artist is making the art because they want to make money. See the difference? Okay, so there's the impersonal mind, the strictly intellectual mind, which the thoughts are at, it's all the same mind, but the thoughts are at a much higher level. Then there's the personal mind. We use that word all the time. Once and for all, understand, what's the personal mind? It's not a separate mind. It's the exact same mind, a field of energy that's capable of creating thoughts, except the thoughts that are being created in the personal mind are about you. What am I going to do? What do I want? What do I not like? Why did he say that to me? What's going to happen when I get older? I don't want to go to a nursing home. I'm 12. I don't want to go to a nursing home when I grow up. I want to make sure I marry somebody who will take care of me, who has the right finances. Me, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine, I, me, mine. If any of those three words are in there, I, me, or mine, which is about 90% of your thoughts, maybe more, have those words in them, and they're about that. It is because you are using the intellectual, brilliant power of this field of mind to think about yourself. That's called the personal mind. It's not like, here's the personal and the impersonal mind. They're the same. It's the same mind. You're just using it to create personal or impersonal thoughts. You're capable of doing that. All of you are capable of doing that. But the majority of the thoughts that pass through your mind, just think of mind as a field of energy. I like the Buddhists Zen Buddhism starts with empty mind. Really, they end with empty mind. Very few people get there. But the understanding of mind should start with empty mind. Does that mean you're stupid? No. That's like, here's a brilliant computer, but there's no programming in it yet. Its potential is phenomenal. So empty mind has all the power to create anything or do anything. It's just not doing it. The vibration is not creating thoughts. It's capable of creating thoughts, but it's not creating thoughts. That's what empty mind is. There's a field of energy that exists. The mind does not have to have thoughts in it. No more than air has to have clouds in it. It can, okay? It can create thoughts, or thoughts can be created in mind. But basically, empty mind is just this high-level vibration of energy, higher than form, high-level vibration of energy that is so subtle and so brilliant, so capable. Like I said, if you look at the circuit board of a Cray computer, of a brilliant computer, you're not doing anything because you can't see its power. Its power is electronic. It's impulses, electronic impulses. They're not going to make quantum computers, right? That literally the power is quarks and leptons down at the lowest level, interacting with each other. But even if it's not doing it, it has a capability of doing it. It's just not doing it. So empty mind is this brilliant field of mind, not creating. In yoga, they call them vrittis. That goes back to thousands of years. Vrittis, vibrations in the mind. That's what a thought is, a vibration in the mind. You can have mind without vrittis. It's very peaceful. It's very quiet. Maybe you've gone there in meditation. Very few actually have, but you can for perhaps short periods of time. Maybe you meditate deep enough to go for long periods of time in which you're there and there are no thoughts. You don't think there are no thoughts, then there are thoughts. There are no thoughts. There's just peace. There's just quiet. There's stillness. So these are empirically experiential things. They're not philosophical. You have mind. You haven't learned how to deal with it, but you have mind. It deals with you. In general, your mind deals with you. It decides what you do, doesn't it? You don't think that because you think you're your mind. You are not your mind. You're the consciousness that experiences the thoughts being created in your mind. But you are so addicted to those thoughts that if you go to a party you've been looking forward to for a year, and you go there, and all of a sudden, for some reason, and I can explain, there's always a reason, but for some reason, a thought comes in, I'm not comfortable. I'm just not comfortable. I don't know why. I'm just not comfortable. I want to leave. You leave because you think you are your thoughts. You had all these thoughts for a year, how excited you are to go. Your mind doesn't have a thought of knowing why you thought that, but I thought it, and I'm leaving. You want to come with me? I'll walk home. Okay, nice thoughts. The point is, you are so addicted to listening to your thoughts that you think you are your thoughts. What witness consciousness is a step back that says, I am not my thoughts. I'm the one who's aware that there are thoughts. You are aware, are you not? Otherwise, how would you know they're there? How do you know you had the thought that said, I'm not comfortable, I want to leave? Because you're conscious. But you don't think I'm the consciousness and this thought just popped into the field of energy called my mind. Bleh, I ain't going anywhere. You don't do that. Or sometimes you do. You have a thought that I'm not comfortable, I want to leave. All right? Then your mind says, no, that'd be embarrassing. If I leave and then I walk home, oh my God, what are they going to think of me? And you got to sit there and watch both of these stupid thoughts being created inside your mind. You did notice both, didn't you? Who noticed both? The same consciousness noticed both thoughts be created. The trouble is they're so strong, and we can explain why later. I don't want to quote there right now. They're so powerful, they're so filled with emotion, so filled with personal energy, that you think that was you who said that. I just decided not to go. I just woke up one morning, I said, I don't want to be married. I don't know why. Probably I never wanted to. But I'm going to act on that. I have the right to live the life. There's the I again. I, me, mine. That's not you. That's a thought. That's a thought that got formed in the field of mind. You notice the thought, but you don't have the ability to practice what's called witness consciousness. What does that mean? I notice the thought. That's the end of it. That means you're not the thought. You notice the thought. That is witness consciousness. They call that mindfulness. I don't know why, because it's mindlessness. It's less mind, not full. But in any event, I like witness consciousness. You are the consciousness observing the fact that a thought popped into your mind that said, I don't know if I want to be married anymore. Okay? And that's because you had pepperoni pizza the night before and you have a stomachache. There are reasons thoughts get formed. Like I said, my book goes way deep into it. All my books do, but definitely the latest, Living Untethered, about why thoughts do what they do, where they come from, why they are the way they are, and you ain't them. They're just things that get formed, forms of patterns of energy that get formed in this field called mind, and you are the consciousness that is witnessing the fact that that thought popped into your mind. The trouble is very, very few people are capable of sitting in that seat of consciousness, in that center, that clarity, that I am the consciousness, and yes, all kinds of thoughts pop into my mind. How about yours? Come on. Which one of you would let me, I won't do it, let somebody take a probe, there's a place just behind your ear, and if you stick the probe in there, all the thoughts that you have show up on Times Square screen. You better laugh, all right? There ain't one of you going to let that probe go in there because you're not in control of your thoughts, and yet you think you're them. Can you get embarrassed by a thought? Can you be ashamed that you had a thought? You think you're the thought. It's just a thought. It's just a vibration rate of energy. It's like getting embarrassed because it's raining, getting embarrassed because the wind is blowing. It's just a vibration of energy that got formed in the field of mind, and you are the consciousness that noticed it. Witness consciousness, when you take the seat of witness consciousness, what does Krishnamurti call it? Objective observation. Objective, meaning I ain't judging, I ain't going with it. It's just like looking at colors on a wall. Objective observation. I am the objective observer who's noticing that thoughts are being formed in my mind. No reason to get embarrassed, no reason to get excited, no reason to go with them, no reason to suppress them. They're just patterns of energy that are forming in an energy field. God, I hope you heard that. That's the truth. There's not one single thought you ever had or ever will have that is more you than any other thought. Do you hear me? I'm going to repeat it to you again. There's not one single thought you ever had or ever will have that is more you than any other thought you ever had. They're just thoughts. They're wavelets in the ocean. Which one of those wavelets is you? Well, I like the big one. I don't like that one. So what? It's not you. And that's what you're doing with your thoughts. That's the fall from the garden. You fell from the seat of consciousness, God. I say that. I don't like to say things that I don't back up. Why God? It's just consciousness. Wait till you find out the source of consciousness. The source of mind is just part of the field of energy and creation. The source of thoughts is because there are patterns that cause your thoughts to go up to the mind and make that. If your heart hurts, I guarantee you your thoughts are about that. If you drop a hammer on your toe, I guarantee you your thoughts immediately become about that. They're results. They're cause and effect. They're just stimuli. If you have a thought, it can create another thought. Have you noticed? In other words, it's cause and effect. There are reasons your thoughts are being created, and they're very personal reasons, like the hammer on the toe, or like anything else, all right? They're just I don't want to get into it in depth. We will probably later on in the talk, right? But there are reasons your thoughts, every single thought you've ever had, there is a reason that thought got created in your mind as opposed to some other. And then it created another thought. There's a reason it did that. It's just like the world. Science studies cause and effect. It studies the patterns of things. Why are things the way they are? Psychology studies why you said what you said, why you acted the way you acted. Physics studies why gravity pulls down and what effect it will have if blah, 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 right? The mind's exactly the same, exactly the same. The trouble is even the scientists think they're the mind. I have to write this paper, publish or perish. Okay? You're hearing me? So you get to the point you understand, I'm stressing it. It is just a field of energy in which vibrations take place that are thought forms, that create thought patterns. There's a seed to every thought you ever had. Can you watch a thought get created? Can you feel it's going to come up and it gets weird and then all of a sudden, okay? That's because there's a seed of energy that blossoms into the thought. It uses the substance of the mental plane to create thoughts, and then they fade away sometimes. They don't all fade away, do they? They don't all fade away. Why? Of course they're going to fade away. No, you have the power to make them not fade away. You have the power. You, the consciousness. Will is a power of consciousness. When consciousness focuses, it creates what you call the power of will. If it focuses on something, it can hold it, it can push it around, it can do everything. So basically, your consciousness focuses on something it doesn't like. Somebody said something, somebody did something, an event took place that you didn't like at all. What do you do when an event takes place you don't like? You focus on it. Weird. I told you, if I take a 15-foot rattlesnake, I put it here in the room, you're not going to listen to me from then on. Every bit of your energy is going to be on that rattlesnake. And if I ask you the question, would you rather have the rattlesnake be in front of you or behind you? Not one of you want it behind you. That's why you focus on things that bother you. I want to keep my eye on this. Focus on it. When you focus on it, you put energy into it. Everything else passes through. Trees, people, cars, weather, they pass through. They come in, they pass through. They pass through your mind. You experience them, but then they go away because you didn't hold them. But if you didn't like it, you focus on it and it stays. It stayed because you focused on it. It stayed because you put your will onto it and said, no, none of my watch. I can't handle this. I don't like this. And therefore you pushed it away and you kept it inside your mind. And it's still there. Do you have thought forms? I can call them thought forms now. Do you have thought forms that have been there for many years that bother you? That come back up if somebody says something or somebody doesn't say something or somebody wears a certain thing or smell a certain food. Or you pick up the phone and it says, this is your mother. And all the patterns that happened when you were growing up, they come vomiting up. You did that. You took the sanctity of this field of energy that has the ability to create rocket ships and to create penicillin and to solve things and it can do many, many things. And you used it to fill it. You filled that field of energy with your garbage, with the stuff that you couldn't handle. You did that. The mind does not do that. Don't you tell me my mind's giving me trouble. Yeah, it's giving you trouble because you stored trouble in there. So it's going to come up as trouble. And it does come back, doesn't it? So you're starting to understand that that's the personal mind. The one that you're in there and you identify with it enough to not let things come and go. Most things you let come and go. Do you understand that? I once said, you are 99.9% enlightened. If enlightened means I'm here now and everything comes in and passes through, I deal with it as I should, but it doesn't leave patterns and it doesn't get stored and I'm not being reactive. I'm just conscious interacting with the energy that's coming in. All right? I'm a clear being, a very rare thing. I'm a totally clear being. No desires, no fears, no hopes, no dreams, no concepts, no preferences. I'm just here. And the energy comes in, it enters my mind, I experience it, it passes through, and I interact with it dharmically. That's the word. I interact with it from an impersonal point of view to see if I can help. Not what do I want, what don't I want, oh my God, I can't handle it, etc., etc. All right? You are 99.9% enlightened. If you were to actually measure everything that came in through your eyes, ear, nose, taste, all that came in through your senses, everything goes through. The white lines on the road go through. Each blade of grass goes through. The trees go through. The cars go through. The people in New York go through. Do you understand that? Except for the one that doesn't. The one who sounded like your mother in the streets of New York. That didn't go through. That was going on in your head for the next 3 days. Was that my mother? Oh my God. Okay? So you stored certain stuff. And that stuff is now running your life. That stuff you stored from before. In yoga we call them samskaras. Patterns of energy that didn't make it through. Why didn't they make it through? Because you didn't let them. You're the only one in there. You understand that? It didn't make it through because it shouldn't have. That's like saying Saturn shouldn't have rings. Anything that happens, it happened. I don't want to say it was supposed to happen. It's a funny word, but should have happened. There is cause and effect causing every single thing to happen. And it's not true that something just out of the blue happened that had no causes, no effects. And my God, how could that have happened? It all has reasons. He got drunk the night before, therefore he's this, and he got fired, and then he yelled at you. Everything happens because of all the sequences that made it happen. How's that for a statement? Every single thing happens because of all the force that made it happen. That's like saying 1 = 1. I'm going to repeat that. Every single thing that ever happened because of all the forces that coalesced together to make it happen. But you couldn't handle it. And so you said, no, not on my watch. No, I can't handle this. No. What did you do? But when you say I can't handle it, does that mean it didn't happen? You wish. There's not a single thing that ever happened that you can make not happen. It's what it is. So what you do when you don't like it, consciously, when the energy is not what you want it to be in there, you push it away. You use your willpower to focus on it and push it away so you don't have to deal with it. I don't want to deal with this. You want to bet you're going to deal with it? If it happened, you're going to deal with it. Until you let it go, you're going to deal with it. You just made it harder to deal with it. You made it that for the rest of your life you have to deal with it instead of just dealing with it then. Do you understand that? Okay, so you stored all this stuff. Now what happens? It gets hit all the time. And if it's not getting hit, you're afraid it's going to get hit. You're afraid of getting rejected. You're afraid of all kinds of things because you've had experiences that you stored that you're afraid they're going to happen again. And so now your whole life is being run by that stuff you stored. That's what yoga teaches. Your whole life is run by your samskaras. But now you understand. It is, isn't it? It's basically whether you marry somebody, whether you don't, what you want to major in, what you want to do. Every single thing is based on your past experiences. You don't have any novel thoughts. Not personal thoughts. There are no novel personal thoughts. They're all based on how do I be okay because I'm not. I'm not okay. I'm scared. I'm insecure. I'm afraid of being rejected. I got to win. I got to impress people. I got to look a certain way. Don't I? Isn't it a struggle? I got to do things so that I'm okay. I've said it once before. I have to somehow make the world so that when it comes in, I feel better and not worse. So now I'm busy. I'm busy doing what? Manipulating the world because I can't handle myself. And when it does hit your stuff, I guarantee it creates thoughts. And I'm telling you, when it doesn't hit yourself, it creates thoughts because you're afraid it might have. What did he mean by that? I don't know. I need to think about it. When Uncle George said stuff like that, I know what he meant, right? You don't want to live in that. Who wants to live in that? What kind of life is that? Just having to manipulate everybody and everything all the time to make sure that when it comes in, it doesn't hit your stuff. And I told you before, I like to talk about it. But there's also good samskaras, positive samskaras. Oh, I like those. No, you don't. You think you do, but you don't. What do you mean? If I have a really, really, really nice experience, like when I was in junior high, he was so beautiful and we had such love, and then they moved and we never had an argument. It was the most beautiful relationship. You are spending the rest of your life looking for that relationship. There's other things, but you'll never know them. Anytime you have a really good experience, what do you do with it? You don't let it go. You store it just the same. You focus on it and store it just the same as you store the negative ones. And now you look for them to happen. Go to a restaurant where you really enjoyed the meal. It was amazing. And bring some friends. Don't do it. All right? The music's not the same. Somebody was smoking. It's not the same chef. It's not the same special. All you're going to do is complain. You're going to compare it against what you liked. And if you compare the moment in front of you against some past moment that you liked, it fails. Yet that experience you've heard of new mind. You're supposed to enter the moment new. That means not with that stuff, either negative or positive. I'm in here experiencing the moment as it is. It's exciting. Is it the same as before? Why would I want to be the same as before? Maybe it's nicer than before. I'm open to new experiences. So positive samskaras, but by the way, I always make a disclaimer here, right? We are so full of negative samskaras, of negative impressions, that if you're doing okay with the positive ones, don't listen to me. You're fine. At least hanging out with those, right? When it's all said and done, you're going to find out they cause trouble too. But when we first got married, you used to open the door for me. It just doesn't feel the same as before. Well, of course it doesn't feel the same. A year has gone by. You've had a year's worth of experiences. He's had a year's worth of experiences. It changes everything. And no, things are not the same. Does that mean you can't love the way they are? No, I want it back the way it was. That ruins marriages, doesn't it? That could definitely ruin a relationship, couldn't it? So your choice is, there's these negative things you stored in there, tons of them. The ratio is probably 1,000 to 1 of negative to positive. Understand that? And the slightest thing bothers you, and how many things really turn you on. So this is what you got built up in there. Now, if anything in the world hits any of that, I'm telling you, it creates thoughts. Those patterns of energy go right to the mind and the heart. They go right to the mind, and the vrittis create thought patterns that match that. I don't like this. He didn't used to do that before, and all of a sudden those are all your thoughts. They're just full of it. Okay? You are not your thoughts. No more than you are your car. No more than you are your house. No more than you are anything else. You're the self. You're the consciousness that's experiencing all of this. The problem is that you stored it with so much gusto, with so much stuff. When you say, I can't handle this, and then you store it, you don't want that coming back up. You don't want to do anything that will touch that again. I couldn't handle it when I was 5. I sure can't handle it when I was 65. Really? It will still be in there. Do you understand that? It's not going away unless you let it go. There's no magic. Do all the drugs you want. You can have experience, which is nice, but that stuff's still in there. It doesn't matter. Have all the relationships you want. But I used to feel so insecure. I used to be so unsure of myself. And since I met her or him, I feel so much better. All right, have him leave. Have her leave. You know what you say? It's worse than it ever was before. I wish I never met him. In other words, it didn't go anywhere. You put something on top of it. So you basically compensated for the fact that you have this problem, and it felt good while it was compensating for it, but it doesn't keep compensating for it, and then it comes back up. Does it or not? Isn't it true? Well, I don't want to say this. Isn't it true that deep, deep, deep inside, you know you're full of it? How many of you know at any point it could fall apart, and you're scared? You know what I mean? I don't care how much confidence you show. The more the ego, the more you throw out there with all that gusto, the more scared you are. How about this? Do people protect themselves? I don't mean physically. Defending everything. Why are you doing that? And what would happen if it didn't work? There's that black hole down there, right? And you don't want to go there. It's called the abyss. But you know it's there, don't you? Okay, well, I don't want it to be there, and I don't want you to avoid it, and I don't want you to have to carry that on for the rest of your life, and you don't have to. But if what you do is keep it in there and say, this is me, that's just how I am. I've always been afraid of that. Don't talk about that around me. I told you not to. All right? So I've got this stuff in here, and I don't want to deal with it. I want things to happen outside that make me feel better. I call my preferences. How I want people, places, and things to be so I feel better. And then my non-preferences, what I don't want to happen. I don't want anyone around me or anything around me or anything to happen. Forget people. I don't want the weather to rain on my birthday when I'm going hiking. I don't want all kinds of stuff. I don't want anyone to scratch my car. I don't want anything to happen that bothers me. And I'm struggling. I'm struggling with the world to try and make me feel okay. We're still talking about mind, because all that stuff comes into the mind, and you know it does, and the mind talks about it all the time. You dream about it, and you have fears about it. But what is anxiety? That. What is insecurity? That. What are you insecure about? I'm not okay. I'm scared that people might not like me, and I'm scared that I did something that I wish I hadn't done that might make them not like me. It's all because you have this garbage in there. And all because the mind, then what happens? The personal mind not only creates those thoughts, it tries to solve them. It sits there and says, I'm insecure and I want to be respected. I want to go and travel and do things that distract me from myself. So how do I do that? And the intellectual mind, I told you it's a brilliant mind, starts thinking about how it needs to be for you to be okay and how to make it that way. And they teach you to do that. How to win friends and influence people. Why do I want to win friends and influence people? Because then I could be okay. If they really respect me a lot and they bow down every time I walk in the room, I don't think I need to worry until they stop. If I'm a beautiful woman or handsome man at 20 and 25 and 30, my enemy is aging. It is my enemy. I'm scared to death of what I'm going to look like tomorrow. That first gray hair, OMG, are you kidding me? How would you like to live like that? Because you're going to get old. Aging is a natural process, and you've created a situation where you don't want to age. You're scared. Now do you see where anxiety comes from? Insecurity and stress and all that kind of stuff. Why is there stress? I don't understand why there's stress. You're sitting on a little ball of dirt, spinning around black empty space. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. You're never going to forget that if you're my students. 1.3 million Earths fit inside the sun. And the sun is one of 300 billion stars in one galaxy, of which there are 2 trillion. What are you stressed out about? I'm stressed out that it might not circle around the sun properly. It's been doing it for 4.5 billion years. And you didn't have to do anything to make it happen. Well, what if it doesn't rotate on its axis? It's been doing that for 4.5 billion years. What are you worried about? Well, what if I get stuck here? No one ever got stuck here. They all left. You hear what I'm saying? Would you please take a bigger picture than I, me, mine? There's nothing to be stressed about, except for the fact that you stored all this garbage, therefore you're not okay, and your mind is worried that you won't be okay, if this will happen, your husband will cheat on you, and all kinds of stuff's going to go on. So, as you got all these problems, you have no problems. It's just that you're not okay inside, and so your mind decided the outside has to be a certain way for me to be okay, and it's not being that way. And it might not be that way if it is that way. You said you love me, but will you love me tomorrow? How are you going to be okay if that's how your mind thinks? And then your mind thinks, how can I prove that he loves or she loves me? Well, I'll watch. Are they holding their arms across their third chakra? Because that's body language. So when they tell me they love me and they're like this, give me a break. Why are you even looking? Because I'm scared. You don't want to live like that. So you're using the lower part of your mind, the personal mind. Why is it the lower part? Because it's fixated on one object, you. Your body, your preferences, your hopes, your dreams, your concepts, in other words, your thoughts. What's a dream? A thought. What's a concept? A thought. What's a preference? A thought. What's a hope? A thought. You guys are worshiping your hopes and dreams. I'm sorry, I'm busting the bubble. That's how I am. You know what hopes or dreams are? If I'm not okay, I hope someday I will be. A great being has no hopes and no dreams. Why? Because they're filled with love. They're filled with Shakti. They're filled with inspiration all the time. I told you, we don't know what a great being's bumper sticker looks like? I'd rather be doing what I'm doing. But that's not what the bumper stickers say, do they? I'd rather be sailing. I'd rather be swimming. I'd rather be in Hawaii. In other words, I'm not okay. That's what those stickers say. I'm not okay. And something has to happen to make me be okay. So your mind did all of that. It's like a fishbowl that got put over your head, and all you see is the fish swimming in there. And those are your personal thoughts. And they're distracting, and they own you, and you have to do what they say. And there's a whole world outside that bowl. A whole world, and not just on earth. That's why I said to you a minute ago, I'm sorry I mentioned the word God. Outside that fishbowl, that's God. What is it? The whole thing. 2 trillion galaxies and everything in them, and every planet and every atom and every single thing on the planet. Every single thing is a divine being expressing itself. Would you like to know him? You can't possibly, because you're too busy knowing yourself. There's a line in the Bible that says, the Lord your God is a jealous God. Now you know what he's jealous of. That you will pay no attention to him or her And you will only pay attention to yourself. And the extent that you have a God, it's one of those fish swimming in there, bigger than the other ones. Oh, please make it be the way I want. What do you pray for? Oh, please make it be the way I want, and please don't let it be the way I don't want. Fine. As opposed to being depressed, please do it. Okay? That ain't God. That's God of the mind. God is outside your mind. I mean, God made the mind. God is every thought. God is everything. And you're limiting it to you. That's how you're taught to pray, isn't it? If you can't do it, ask God. He'll take care of it for you. Well, the question is, why do you want to do it? Because I screwed myself up and I'm not okay, and it made me do actions that I'm embarrassed about, and I don't want to be held responsible for them. I hope nobody ever found out about them. So it's okay. I'm not taking prayer away from you, all right? There is a very great prayer. All the masters talked about it. Ramakrishna made it very clear. There's a prayer. Vivekananda got it, all right? He said, here's your prayer. Please let me feel the devotion that I should feel for you, the entire universe. Teach me that not my will but thy, Christ said, not my will but thy will be done. Take me away from myself so that I can be with you. I just want to feel devotion for the whole universe, and help me forget myself. Please help me. That's a prayer. Now you've asked God for God instead of asked God for you. You see the difference? You see how I call it God of the mind? Which is fine. I don't want to take it away from you. People say, should I read the Bible or the Gita? It's a fine thing to do. It's wonderful. But you, the consciousness that's reading it, are greater than anything you will ever read. You are the link to God. God is consciousness, the source of your being. You who's in there witnessing the thoughts. People think it's a high state. I've reached witness consciousness. It's not a high state. It's like a rocket ship that's on the pad. It didn't take off yet, but at least it's on the pad. So I'm there watching my thoughts. You're still watching your thoughts. Your universe is still limited to what you're watching. You're just not caught up in it. You see them as thoughts. When you spend enough time in that center, you will start to feel an energy pulling you up from behind. I've told you this before. You don't do anything. You can't make it happen. There's no force here, tapasya or anything like that. Because you're not being drawn down into your thoughts and emotions, and you've learned to stay stabilized and centered regardless of what the world is doing, you start to feel energy pulling you up from behind. What do you mean from behind? Your consciousness came from somewheres. It has a source, just like light is light shining on something. It has a source. And that source is Shakti. That source is Satchidananda. That source is the most beautiful thing in the universe. And it starts pulling you up into it. And you start feeling ecstasy, start feeling joy, just overwhelming bliss. Why? Because that's who you are. And that's what God is. Satchidananda, eternal conscious ecstasy. In the Hindu scriptures, they say the nature of the Atman, with a lower A, is Satchidananda. The nature of Atman, the higher A, is Satchidananda. God is Satchidananda. You are Satchidananda because you're God. All right? Muktananda is saying, right? Meditate on the self. Honor and worship your own being, for God dwells within you as you. That is a true statement. But if you're down here being your thoughts, it don't mean nothing to anybody. That's why so few people understand the masters or understand the deep teachings, the deep yogic teachings of merger, oneness. That's when you let go of yourself enough to where you fall back into the source of your being. And every great master that ever did that said the same thing. Yogananda has a chapter in autobiography called My Experience in Cosmic Consciousness. He said the first time he dropped back behind, he was the universe. Every planet was inside of him. Every galaxy was inside of him. His whole being was expanding at the speed of light in every direction off the edge of the universe. All right? My father and I are one. Somebody said that, didn't they? Okay? They all taught the same thing because it's the truth. And they taught you're it too. Even Christ said that. He said, my father and I are one. And as I sit at the throne, it's a seat of consciousness, not a chair. As I sit at the throne of my Father, so you should sit by my throne. And these things which I do, you should do these and even greater things. Did you know he said that? In other words, you are me and I am you. We're one, and we're one in God. And it's just all that. All right, I can't do that if my mind is creating these thoughts by itself, and it is. And it's creating them because of these samskaras. The energy is hitting the patterns. The world is hitting the patterns. Your thoughts are hitting the patterns. Your dreams are hitting the patterns. All kinds of stuff are going on. Ever have a dream and then during the day you thought about it? It's a stupid dream. Your mind made it up. It doesn't matter. It caused the patterns of vrittis in your mind to create thoughts. All those thoughts. In the Untethered Soul, I talk about the voice in your head. That was my first awakening when I noticed a stupid voice talking in my head. Why is it talking? Because of those samskaras. Because all that garbage you stored in there is trying to express it and figure out what to do about it. And it's very, very busy. And so all that is going on in there. And you're lost. It's overwhelming. And so the consciousness gets distracted by it, and it doesn't know who it is. You think you're a 23-year-old woman or 45-year-old man, that this happened to and that happened. You are not what happened to you. You are not what happened to you. You're the one it happened to. You would be in there if it didn't happen. Your psyche wouldn't be the same. Psychology says man is the sum of his learned experiences. It is true that your psyche, the way your mind thinks and the way your heart feels, is the sum of your learned experiences. I've been talking about that all night, haven't I? But that's not who you are. You're the one who notices. Is it true that your thoughts and your heart are the sum of your learned experiences? Is it true that your divorce makes you think differently and feel differently and all things that happen to you? How do you know? Because I'm in here. That's where they miss. That's what psychology misses. Although transpersonal psychology tries to get there. But in general, psychology says, I am my mind, you are your mind, therefore you are the sum of your learned experiences. You're not. You're the one who experienced the experience. If the experience didn't happen, you'd still be in there. So you're the consciousness, you're the being, you're the essence, the Atman, the self. But your mind creates all these thoughts, which the heart's the same. Mind and heart go hand in hand. It creates all these thoughts and all these emotions and so on, and they're overwhelming, are they not? They're overwhelming. Next thing you know, all you're dealing with is what you're looking at, and you're never dealing with who's looking. Like when you look in the mirror, you try to see whether you're good looking. That's ridiculous. You don't even have a face. You're the one who's looking, but you're identifying yourself with what you're looking at. There's a koan in Zen, very deep. Ready? That a great Zen master would give it to you. Koans are things that your mind can't figure out. But when you get it, you get it. You know what the koan is? What was your face before your mother was born? Don't bother thinking about it, right? Because you were there, okay? And the day that you wake up and give up on your mind and realize who's in there trying to think about this, right? Now you go see the master and he gives you a hug instead of the stick. Imagine thinking about it. Well, there's genetics. All right, so I know what my face would have been because of the DNA. You're going to get that stick from that Zen master, I'll tell you right now. So now you understand the personal mind. What's the impersonal mind? Not that. The rest of the mind. The mind that can think, contemplate, create thoughts about not you. Niti. About not you. And therefore you are taught. Jnana Yoga is the yoga of the impersonal mind. Jnana Yoga is the yoga of knowledge. It's the yoga of studying science, scriptures, whatever it is. Not you. It's not about you. You have an intellectual mind. You have an abstract mind. The day that you will understand why I keep talking about the size of the universe is the day you have truly entered your abstract mind. Because if you sit there and take those pictures, the James Webb will give them to you, the Hubble will give them to you. You ever seen the picture of ultra deep space? That picture that has thousands of galaxies in it, there's no stars. It's just galaxies. That's how far out they look. Was taken in a point of space that a 6-foot straw would see if you look through a 6-foot straw. That's what's real. And every one of those galaxies are hundreds of billions of stars. It is so big, it's incomprehensible, all right? Your mind can try to contemplate that. Your mind can meditate on that. And you can start to feel the enormity of reality instead of the tininess of me. It's pretty tiny, this fishbowl you got going on over there. You hear me? So you're not going to find God by getting what you want. It's not about that. And if you're praying to God, make it all the way I want it. You just ask God, don't take me to you. Because the way you want it is based on all this garbage you have inside. And if you get everything the way you want, you won't grow. You won't wake up. You won't change. Life is not about getting what you want. Life is not about getting what you want. Life is about letting go of yourself enough to where you can come in harmony with reality. And reality includes those galaxies. Don't sit there and say, well, why would I bother? What do they have to do with me? Everything. Their reality. You're in that world. Instead of in your world, you're in the universe. Allow your intellectual mind, the great mind you have, to expand out. Contemplate infinity. Contemplate eternity. You can't do it by actually contemplating infinity or eternity, but you can do it by getting off of yourself and at least expanding out. I have a picture on the wall over there of the planet Earth taken from 2 million miles out. It's a photograph. Please know what that is. It's where you're hanging out for a few years, and it's meaningless. It's just black, empty space all around it, and there's the planet Earth. You're on that. And then pay attention to that circling around a sun 93 million miles away. Isn't that beautiful? You can use your mind to go beyond yourself. That is a little what Jnana Yoga is. There's different branches of yoga. The yoga in which you're using your intellectual mind, your abstract mind, your impersonal mind to contemplate reality, you will find you're expanding. You'll find you're free. There was a story with Ramakrishna, was a very, very great saint, very great being. And he would sit in the ashram and he'd look out the window, and there was this guy, he had a loincloth, and he sat in the garbage bin where they threw away all the food and the garbage outside the ashram, and he would sit there all day, and the only thing he had was a book, one book, and there was a dog, and he ate the leftover foods, the rice and this and that was thrown in the garbage. He would feed the dog with his hand, put the hand in his mouth, and they'd be eating this. That's how he'd eat, and he had this book. And Ramakrishna was just fascinated with the guy, because he would study that book like the most important thing that would ever be. He'd spend hours on a page, then he'd turn a page, and Ramakrishna wanted to know what is in that book. And one day he went down. It's a true story. I'm going to cry. He went down and he said, "Can I see your book?" And the guy gave him the book. And the master opened a page. There's only one word written on that page. Ram. Next page. Ram. 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 Just the name of God. That's all that was there. And all he did was study that book day and night, as if it was the most important thing that could ever be. His mind wasn't caught on himself. He was in a state of ecstasy that's the universe. That's all there is God. All right? So use your intellectual mind to transcend your personal mind. You can do it every day. You do it with things like I said, the sun. It's hot. Stop. Just stop. That's your personal mind. Bring your intellectual, your abstract mind in for a moment. I asked Mickey, why is it hot? Because the sun is out there. Is it a sun? Well, it's a star. Everybody likes stars. And there's one out there, but it's close. Well, it's 93 million miles away. The next one is 4.2 light years away. The next star. Here, you want to use your mind? I told you, that star, the sun, is 93 million miles away. Miami's 360. 93 million, 360. How hot is that star? If Miami caught fire, every building on it, you would not fill it up here. See? It's kind of fun to use that mind, isn't it? Get it off of yourself. It's not something that's hot. It's kind of neat. that's a neat thing. That thing's so hot. The next star is 4.2 light years away. What does that mean? It's just words. Okay, I got to stop. I don't want to stop. Right? Just give me your intellectual mind for a moment. I just caught a photon, a light beam. I held it above the planet Earth. You got it? I'm holding it. Whole planet Earth is underneath it. I let it go for 1 second. It just circumnavigated the globe 7.5 times. That's how fast light is. If it went that speed every second, for every minute, for every hour, for every day, for every year, for 4.2 years, it would get to the next star. That's how you use your intellectual mind. That's kind of fun to contemplate, isn't it? And there's 300 billion in your galaxy. You're expanding your frame of reference to include the rest of the universe. There, I wanted to get that across. Did I get that across tonight?
Yeah.
the difference between the personal mind and the impersonal mind. The impersonal mind is enormous. It includes the entire universe. I'll close with one statement. Ramakrishna said, and he was fully enlightened, the purified mind is no different than the self. Oh my God, that is so deep. In other words, if your mind's not creating all this garbage thoughts, and the self is sitting there looking down into the mind, it's like a mirror. It's just reflecting itself. There's no difference. It's made of the same essence that the self is made of, mind is made of. So you're a very great being. But what you're doing with your personal mind is ruining your life. And so you get to do something about it. That's what yoga is. Yoga is how to transcend, not get rid of the mind. The mind's a beautiful thing, it's a gift of God. Work on yourself. Jai Gurudev.